Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Jahin Siddiqui. I am a graduate student who is currently completing his masters in economics. In masters in economics, there is an important topic which is named pure exchange economy. Today we are going to discuss about pure exchange economy with three subsections: the Edgeworth Box and the Equilibrium in pure exchange economy, Pareto Efficient Allocation, and lastly blocking correlation and the co. So without any further delay, we start our discussion. We start with some basic idea about pure exchange economy. A pure exchange economy, or simply an exchange economy, is an economy in which there are no production opportunities. The economic agents of such an economy are consumers who possess initial stocks or endowments of commodities. Economic activities consist of trading and consumption. Agents may consume their endowments of commodities or may engage in barter exchange with others. Let's now suppose there are two consumers in the society, consumer 1 and consumer 2, with two goods x1 and x2. Let E1 is equal to E11, E12 denote the non-negative endowment of two goods by the consumer 1, and E2 is equal E12, E22 the endowment of consumer 2. Then the total amount of each good available in this society can be summarized by the vector E1 plus E2 is equal E11 plus E12, E21 plus E22. In this case, the superscripts represent the consumers and the subscripts represent the goods. Similarly, the total consumption bundle in the society is x1 and x2, which is equal x11 plus x12, x21 plus x22. This is shown by figure 1.1. The quantity of x1 good is measured by the horizontal axis, and the quantity of commodity of good 2 is measured by the vertical axis, which is shown by this figure. The southeast corner is the consumer 1's origin, which is shown by O01, and the northeast corner is the consumer 2's origin, which is shown by 02. For the two-person exchange economy, suppose each consumer has preference represented by a usual convex indifference curve. Figure 1.1 shows the indifference curve for consumer 1 and consumer 2, and for consumer 1 the indifference curve increases by northeasterly, and for consumer 2 it increases by southwesterly. The CC level line is the contract curve. At any point of the contract curve, the consumer's indifference curve must go through that point to cut each other. Feasible allocation in this exchange economy are constrained by the initial endowment E. In this figure, where two indifference curve of both consumer intersects at point E is showing the initial endowment level at point E. Barter equilibria occur when voluntary exchanges between consumers lead to mutually beneficial outcomes. Potential barter equilibria lie within and on the boundary of the lens-shaped area delineated by the indifference curve of the both consumers through the initial endowment, where the trades result in both consumers being better off. Now, let's discuss economy with many consumers and many goods. Let I is a set of 1 up to capital I. Index the set of consumers and suppose there are n goods. Each consumer small I belongs to capital I has a preference relation greater than equal to the power I and is endowed with a non-negative vector of the n goods. E to the power I is equal to E1I is continued up to EIN. Altogether, the collection is epsilon is equal to greater than equal I, EI, where the small I is in capital I defines an exchange economy. Let E is equivalent E1 up to EI denote the economy's endowment vector and define an allocation as a vector, where xi denotes the consumer i's bundle according to the allocation. The set of feasible allocation in this economy is shown by the below equation, where f of e equivalent to the function to set x where summation among where small I is in capital I, xi is equal to summation I or small I over capital I ei, and it contains all allocation of goods across individuals that in total exhaust the available amount of every good. The first requirement of x as a barter equilibrium is therefore that is x is an element of f of e. In figure 1.3, indifference curve I is the consumer I's indifference curve which passes through its endowment point ei. The shaded area in this graph represents the set of bundles xi1, xi2 for consumer I satisfying these two following equations, where is shown in this slide. Here, bundle A cannot be a barter equilibrium because consumer 1 doesn't exchange EI for A, and consumer 1 will block allocation A, which is shown in this graph left side of the indifference curve IC2. Not all points in the lens-shaped area are barter equilibrium. Figure 1.4, bundle B lies inside the lens-shaped area. Thus, it yields a higher utility level than the initial endowment level E for both consumers. But bundle D makes both consumers better off than bundle B because it lies on the contract curve, which is the indifference curve, are tangent to one another. It is an equilibrium since Pareto improvement are no longer possible. Being in the lens-shaped region is then a necessary condition but not sufficient condition for an allocation to be a barter equilibrium. Now we talk about Pareto efficient allocation, a feasible allocation where x is a element of f of e is a Pareto efficient if there is no other feasible allocation y, which is an element of f of e, which is weakly preferred by all consumers, that is y2 is weakly preferred than x2 for all small I belongs to capital I, and strictly preferred by at least one consumer y1, which is greatly strictly preferred than xi. That is allocation x is Pareto efficient if there is no other feasible allocation y, making all individual at least as well off as under x and making at least one individual strictly better off. The set of Pareto efficient allocation solves maximization of ui of xi where x1 up to xi is greater than 0, subject to ui of xz is greater than equal uz bar for z not equal to I, and the constants becomes summation of I, where I over small I capital over capital I xi is equal summation I over small I over capital I ei. This shows the feasibility for every good k where k's value is 1 or 2. That is allocation. That is the allocation which is Pareto efficient if they maximize individual i's utility without reducing the utility of all other individuals below a given level of j bar and satisfying feasibility. Thus, the Lagrange equation becomes this, which is shown by this slide, and the first order condition with no respect to xi yields del L divided by del xki is equal del ui of xi by del xki minus mu is less than 0 for every good k of consumer I. For any individual j is not equal to I, first order condition becomes del L del xkj is equal lambda I del uj of xj divided by del xk of j minus mu less than equal to 0. First order condition with respect to lambda j and u yields uj of xj is greater than equal uji, and summation I small I over capital I xi is equal to summation small I over xi ei. In this case, entire solution, a complete solution condition for Pareto efficiency is given below this by this equation, and we can say in this equation marginal rate of substitution of consumer I for consuming good 1 and 2 is equal to marginal rate of substitution of consumer Z for consuming good 1 and 2 for every consumer Z is not equal to I, which shows the consumers are not identical or the same. That is, the marginal rate of substitution for good 1 and good 2 must coincide across individuals in the economy. In this case, individual curves become tangent to one another at Pareto efficient allocation. Now we discuss about the last sub-content of our discussion, the blocking correlation and the core. Blocking correlation. Let S is a pure proper subset of I denote a correlation of consumers. We say that S blocks where X is an element of FE if there is an allocation Y such that number 1 allocation is feasible for S, which is the aggregate amount of goods that individual in S enjoys in allocation Y coincides with their aggregate initial endowment. That is summation I small I over S Y I is less than equal summation of small I over S EI. Preferable. Allocation Y makes all individuals in the correlation weakly better off than under X, that is YI is weakly preferred than XI, where I small I below is an element of S but makes at least one individual strictly better off, that is YI is strictly better than XI. Equilibrium in a barter economy. A feasible allocation X is an equilibrium in the exchange economy with initial endowment of E in X is not blocked by any correlation of consumers. Core. The definition of core starts with the core of an economy is with endowment E denoted C of E is the set of all unblocked feasible correlation. Such allocations should be mutually beneficial for all individuals, that is they lie in the lens-shaped area. Second, they do not allow for further Pareto improvements, that is they lie on the contour curve. Thank you everyone for being there with me. In my next video we will discuss about another important microeconomic topic. Until then, stay safe. Allah Hafiz.